Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We did this. We spoke about istaha and istahya and yastahi versus yastahi. Yastahi. We did that last week. And then he says, and yadriba, right? في موضع النصب أي من أن يضرب. So how can أن يضرب be in the nasb state if it is the taqdeer is min an yadriba, right? Istahyaytu min Zaydin. Surely it should be the word that is in place of Zayd should be majrur. So it should be fi mahal jar, right? Why is he saying fi mahal nasb, a min an yadriba? What do you think? So what did we say, Muhammad Amin, about every majrur is in reality mansub?
When we remove حرف الجر, it goes back to نصب.
So basically, استحييت منه means استحييته. But you can't say استحييته, so you put the min in its place. But in reality, it is استحييته, right? استحييت زيدا. So it's mansub. You put the min and it becomes majrur, right? But in reality, that min min زيد is متعلق, right? When you say min زيد, استحييت من زيد, مررت بزيد, you say the jar majrur is muta'alliq to the verb. I.e. the verb is doing amal. The verb is doing nasb to the jar majrur or to the majrur, however you look at it. So in reality, it is the maf'ul bihi ghayr sarih, right? It's an indirect maf'ul bihi. Okay? So that's why he says, إن الله لا يستحيي من أن يضرب. He says, في موضع نصب أي من أن يضرب. So it's a bit confusing the way he says it. That's what he's saying. مثلا منصوب بيضرب. To strike an example, to make an example. ما بعوضة. وفي نصبها ثلاثة أوجه. تكون ما زائدة. وبعوضة بدلا من مثل. إن الله لا يضرب إن الله لا يستحي أن يضرب مثلا ما any kind of we call it ما الإبهامية. He was calling it ما الزائدة, but it's ما الإبهامية. It means like any kind of example, right? أين تريد أن تسكن؟ في بيت ما. Any old house will do, right? ماذا تريد أن تأكل؟ طعام ما, right? Any kind of food, right? لو جاء رجل ما, if some kind of guy turned up, anybody kind of guy, right? That's called the ما الإبهامية, right? So he says ما إبهامية. So إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما, comma بعوضة فما فوقها, right? That's بدل من مثل. Okay, that's number one. ويجوز أن تكون ما في موضع النصب نكرة وبعوضة نعت لما. وصلح أن تكون نعتا لأنها بمعنى قليل. So it means إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا شيئا قليلا مثل بعوضة فما فوقها. Right? ما means شيء and بعوضة means small. Right? So إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا أي مثل شيئا صغيرا جدا مثل بعوضة فما فوقها. Right? Okay, لما صلح. Okay, that's number one. And number three, والوجه الثالث قول الكسائي والفراء قال التقدير أن يضرب مثلا ما بين بعوضة ما بين بعوضة فحذف بين وأعربت بعوضة بإعرابها والفاء بمعنى إلى أو إلى ما فوقها والمعنى ضربت له مثلا مثلت له. Okay, so now this position of al-Kisai and Farra that is totally different. This is really important. So it says ma actually means baina. So what it means is إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بين بعوضة ف وما وبين ما فوقها. Okay, بين كذا وكذا. So what happens then is بين was dropped. So بين was a ظرف, and that was mansub. So the بين was dropped, and so بعوضة became mansub because of the ظرف. It's like a ظرف basically. And he gives al-Kisai, I believe, and Farra both give examples. I'll try and find it from Farra. Give me 1 second. So I have a piece of homework for you, Muhammad, to look at Muhammad. There's two Muhammads here. Muhammad Amin is an Aban as well. You can do this. Look at the beginning of the Ma'ani Quran of Al-Farra, and find out who As-Simarri is. I think his name is Simarri. Who was he and how old was he when Ma'ani al-Quran was dictated to him? So who was he, when was he, where did it happen, on which days of the week? Right. Okay, I'm trying to find this here. So Al-Farra, Ma'ani al-Quran. So Ma'ani al-Quran doesn't mean tafsir, it means dealing with tricky words. Ma'ani al-Quran, Al-Farra. Notice he's passes away 207, right? Farra. I believe Imam Ahmad used to attend his classes, or vice versa. Okay, so here it says here. قال الكسائي سمعت أعرابيا وراء الهلال فقال الحمد لله ما إهلالك إلى سرارك يريد ما بين إهلالك إلى سرارك فجعلوا النصب الذي كان يكون في بين فيما بعده إذا سقطت ليعلم أن معنى بين مراد وحكى الكسائي عن بعض العرب الشنق ما 5 إلى 25 يريد ما بين 5 إلى 25. Right. والشنق ما لم تجب فيه الفريضة من الإبل والأوقاص في البقر. تقول الوقص. Right. Does that make sense? So the point is ما XY meaning ما بين XY.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to show you right now. I'll do your homework for you. I think it's going to say here da 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 da. So here it says سمعت أبا عبد الله محمد بن جهم بن الهارون بن السمري سنة 68 و200. It says here كسر أوله السمر. He says هذا كتاب فيه معاني القرآن أملاه علينا أبو زكريا يحيى الفراء يرحمه الله عن حفظه من غير نسخة في مجالسه أول النهار في أيام الثلا ها؟ ثلا ثلاثاوات والجمع. Right. We usually say أيام الثلاثاء. ثلاثاوات والجمع في شهر رمضان وما بعده من سنة اثنتين في في شهور سنة ثلاث وشهور من سنة 400. So we have it's dictated to them in the year 202, 203, and 204. Right. We started the beginning of the day from on Tuesdays and Fridays in Ramadan. Now it doesn't have his tarjama here. It says Simarri, that's it. So that's your homework, Muhammad Amin, okay? Find out how old Simarri was when this was happening. I guess you can find out when he was born. If you can find out when he's born, I guess you can find out, because it says these are happening in 202, 203, and 204. So I know in my tahqiq of the book it mentions it. That's why I wanted to share it. I didn't look it up myself, like, inshallah. If you're looking for the PDF, it might all be there. Allahu A'lam. And this is page 1 anyway, so Allahu A'lam. So there we go. Ya Rab. Okay. بمعنى إلى طيب. ومعنى ضربت له مثلا مثلت له مثلا وهذه الأبنية على ضرب واحد أي على مثال واحد فما فوقها عطف على ما الأولى وحكي أنه سمع رعبة يقرأ إن الله لا يستحيي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة بالرفع وهذه لغة تميم جعل ما بمعنى الذي ورفع بعوضة على إضمار الابتداء والحذف ما أقبح منه لأن الذي إنما له وجه واحد والاسم معه أطول. Oh, I think this is what it is. Beni Tamim, they say things like this. Ma jayyid, meaning ma huwa jayyid. Right? أريد ما جيد أريد ما هو جيد بمعنى الذي ورفع بعوضة على إضمار الابتداء ما هو جيد ما هي بعوضة. So they basically dropped it. We can't drop that, but the Beni Tamim does do that. والحذف في ما أقبح منه في الذي. Dropping the word هو or here in ما is worse than doing it in الذي لأن الذي إنما له وجه واحد. الذي you're always waiting for, we all know that الذي is an ism mawsul, so you're always waiting for the silatul mawsul, as opposed to ma it could be nahi, sorry nafi, it could be silatul mawsul, it could be all sorts of things, so it's pretty unclear. Ma ba'uda, which means that which is a fly. It's a bit tricky. والاسم معه أطول. فأما الذين آمنوا أما الذين رفع بالابتداء وخبره ما بعد فاء فلا بد من فاء في جواب أما لأن فيها معنى الشرط أي مهما يكون من شيء فالأمر كذا. So أما means مهما يكون من شيء. How on earth did he get there? Right? How on earth did we get from مهما يكون من شيء, whatever may be, whatever the case is, then, right? So how does it work again? Trying to remember now. So an ma. Forgotten. This is a long time ago now. An ma. It's originally from. So what happens is you can replace um مهما يكون من شيء ما يكون ما يكون. I think it's the word an. An can replace the word kana. Where was that? I'm gonna mention it here. مهما يكون من شيء. Just give me 1 second, please. I can quickly look this up in here. I should look it up here, and I'll share with all of you. Mughni Labib. So Mughni Labib is a somewhat advanced grammar book, but it's nice because it's organized alphabetically. So instead of under the topic of something, amma is there as a word. So I need this one, Kitab Mughni al-Labib by Ibn Hisham. Mughni. So Mughni, Ibn Hisham, Muhammad apparently left the Hanafi school and became Hanbali. He memorized Mukhtasar al-Khiraqi, something like that, before he
Didn't he
died.
leave Shafi'i school?
Yeah, he left the Shafi school and became Hanbali.
Yeah, yeah, but he said Ash'ari, I think.
Close enough, inshallah. Okay. مهما يكون من شيء. Okay, here's Amma, okay? No, it's before this. Ah, Amma, here we go. So he mentions, let me know if my connection gets weak, okay? So he says, أما بالفتح والتشديد. أما. So just skip some of these things. وهو حرف شرط وتفصيل توكيد. He's going to mention a second where it's originally from. But originally, so it says, ولذلك قال سيبويه, not سيبويهن. سيبويهن means a Sibawayh. Like he's an Einstein. هو سيبويهن. It's سيبويه. مهما يكون من شيء فزيد ذاهب. وهذا تفسير. Hmm? Where's the origin of it though? Does not explain it there. Hmm. One second. So I want Ibdal. I think it was An. I think where it was. Hmm. I don't have that on Wikipedia on شاملة النحو الواضح. Okay. No. الوافي. Okay, here we go. Here's this. Oh. So I think they talk about the origin of Amma in Kana. And then kana is spoken about in that chapter. Chapter of Nawasikh. Just give me a second, please. I'm going to get the book. I'm trying to use a search engine here. And just give me a second. Okay, so Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So I found what I was looking for. There's two things that are conflated. So amma has two meanings. When they say this, فأما الذين آمنوا, where is it? أي مهما يكون من شيء. That's a taqdeer of its meaning, an approximation. Whatever the case may be, whatever may be the case. That's what it means. So, فأما الذين آمنوا, whatever the case may be with those who believe, then it's this. Okay? That's an approximation of the meaning, not its origin. Okay? It's not that amma is originally from something else. Okay? Now, there's another thing that I was conflating it with, which is amma anta ghaniyan fatasaddaq. That's something totally different. That's لأنك كنت غنيا فتصدق. Because you are wealthy, give in charity. So that's different. That's an ma, which means لأن, لأنك, and then the ma is in place of kana. أما أنت, meaning أن كنت, لأنك كنت. That's what it means. That's totally different. So I was mixing the two things up. They're not related. Okay. So that's one is an, like an kana dha malin, right? An, so an ma, meaning because he was or because he is. An ma, amma, because he was. Amma anta, because you are or because you were. That's one word, and that's generally the origin of the word, whereas this is two different things. Okay. Where did I look that up? Muhammad Amin and Aban here as well. Note it down in Al-Nahw al-Wafi. So Nahw al-Wafi, Sheikh Ali Hani used to use that a lot. The book's really, really good, really good. There's also rubbish books out there, right? But Nahw al-Wafi is really, really good. It's like Alfiya plus and explained in an accessible way. So you always used to have us prepare for a Qatr class, so you read these sections from Nahw al-Wafi. Does that make sense? So that's what I was looking up now. It's in 4 volumes, but it's really, really good. Okay, by something Abbas Hassan or something like that. Right?
Is it a modern book?
Modern book, yeah, but it's really good. Yeah. So most modern books are rubbish. They're not useful at all. They're just kind of like, basically, you're a lecturer, you want to prove yourself, so print something. That's what they do. So they're not actually useful at all. Okay. So فأما الذين آمنوا الذين رفع بالابتداء وخبره ما بعد الفاء فلا بد من فاء في جواب أما لأن فيها معنى الشرط أي مهما يكون من أمر فالأمر كذا فيعلمون أنه الحق أن في موضع نصب بيعلمون والهاء اسمها والحق خبرها. So here it's a little bit tricky. فيعلمون takes 2 مفعول بهs. So what's happening is I say علمت كصديقي علمت الحديد قوية علمت الحديد قويا. And it takes 2 مفعول بهs. So what happens when those 2 مفعول بهs are blocked by أن? Right? So what's the difference if I say علمت أن الحديد قوي versus علمت الحديد قويا. So علمت الحديد قويا مفعول به أول مفعول به ثاني. علمت أن الحديد قوي. What's going on? So here it says في موضع نصب. In reality, it's kind of like double nasb, if that makes sense. So what's happening is we say المصدر مؤول, right? المصدر المؤول, what does مصدر المؤول mean? Is like the verbal noun that you could infer from that structure. فيعلمون كونه الحق, it's being the truth. So that كون, that being the truth, سد مسد مفعولي يعلم. It stands in the stead. سد مسد. It stands in the stead, it blocks the blocking of the two مفعول بهs of يعلم. Because يعلم in reality has two مفعول بهs. Right? ظننت أنك مريض. سد مسد مفعولي ظن. Okay? Make sense?
Yes.
خير. Let me just write that down for you all. Like قام مقام سد مسد مفعولي علم. Verb علم. Okay. أن في موضع نصب بيعلمون والهاء اسمها والحق خبرها من ربهم خفض بمن. وأما الذين كفروا ولغت بتميم وبن عامر وأيما الذين آمنوا. وأيما الذين آمنوا وأما الذين آمنوا وأيما الذين يبدلون من إحدى الميمين ياء كراهية تضعيف. Right? Like أمليت للذين كفروا أمللت للذين كفروا. يتصدى from يتصدد. يتمطى from يتمطط. So it's slightly different, but it's the same idea. Go ahead, Muhammad.
Is he saying that in general, in general speech, Tamim and Bani Amir say
Oh,
Ayman said
I don't
Dhamma,
know.
or is it actually
I think it's specific to this
قراءة?
word. Oh, it's not qira, no. This is just how they say it. So he's in the editor has put words as if it's Quran, but it's not, like ilah, bima'na ilah. That's not in the Quran. So the default is this should be Quran, but it's not. Yeah. يبدلون من إحدى الميمان يعني كراهة التضعيف. وعلى هذا in Tunisian, do you say it ظنيت? Do you say that ظنيت? I thought. مريت عليه. محمد أمين.
Sorry, my Zoom crashed.
No worries.
Sidi, the Saddam Saddam Afrola, it's called something, right? When it
تعليق.
happens. Ta'liq, yeah.
It's related to تعليق, yeah. Same kind of idea. Basically, the inability of the two maf'ul bi of the direct amal. Like you can't say things like what does ta'liq, like what's it called? What's the word? تساءلت هل أبان يقظان أم نائم. Right? I asked myself the question whether or not, you know. So تساءلت كذا. That's تعليق as well, because you can't put You know, you can't, nothing can have any amal after the word, the hamza, right? أأبان هل أبان يقظان أم نائم. So that blocks. There's the same kind of idea. It's kind of like basically how does the direct action is not really working anymore. It's similar kind of thing. Muhammad Amin, you there?
Yes.
So I was asking in Tunisian Arabic, do you say ظنيت and مريت,
No.
شديت?
Yeah, but it's more, yeah, شديد.
Okay, but شديت, right? But when you don't say شددت,
Yeah.
yeah, شديت, right? So شديت, so how do you say I passed by him? مريت عليه?
تعديت عليه تعديت.
تعديت. Okay, تعديت. Okay, but okay, what about so uh, فكيت الباب.
حليت.
حليت. Well, but you say حليت, okay? You don't say حللت, right?
Yeah.
Right? So the point is you're doing the same thing. You're trying to escape the second letter. It's the same general idea, like getting rid of double letters because they're annoying. But in reality, what we find then in Levantine Arabic and again in your Arabic is that you kept the shadda, halit, right? So you actually kept the shadda. So you're supposed to say halaytu, right? Or maraytu, or dhanaytuka, not dhannaytuka. So dhanaytuka, right? Like amlaytu lilladhina kafaru instead of amlaltu lilladhina kafaru, even though they're the same, right?
Yes, but is it a قراءة or is it just saying in Arabic they say that?
This here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just their language. It's not qara. No. So again,
Right.
I think when your Zoom was uh was undertaking its self-intihar, right? We um, I was saying that the editor has put words in these Quranic brackets that aren't really Quranic.
Yeah.
Like here, ila is not Quran. So it's just anyway, they just put it like that.
Is it that whenever he says لغة فلان, he's not talking
Yeah,
about
by
قراءة?
default it just means lugha. It doesn't mean it's actually a
Yeah.
qira'ah. Yeah.
Right.
And also you have to understand that the 10 qira'at is not established yet, right? So this is like at the time of the 10 qira'at are being established. So he's not really talking about it. He might mention it now and then that it's never been heard, but like that distinction is not very clear at that point. Yeah. Okie dokie. وعلى هذا ينشد بيت عمر ابن ربيعة. So his diwan is very important, and a lot of his shawahid. So his poetry is unique, it's interesting, and it's also useful in grammar, right? We use his stuff. Sibwe quotes him a lot, and unfortunately, there's like a diwan. There's like I don't know where his diwan is. So if you just look at the diwan, it's like there's no sanad for it whatsoever. But I don't really understand. I tried to look for a long time to try and find out where it was. You just find like diwan, like with no tahqiq and no mention of any what's it called? No mention of any sources. So that's what happened. The original tahqiq in the early 20th century was like that. Like they just wouldn't even mention their sources. They just get it out for you. There you go. You know, here's a few manuscripts that I found. I don't mention what they are. I don't mention where they're found or anything, and I just put it in print. You know, it's like great, but you don't even know where the book is from at all. So as far as I know, there is no tahqiq of the Diwan of Umar ibn Abi Rabi'a, even though it's really important. So رأت رجلا أيما إذا الشمس عارضت فيضحى وأيما بالعشي فيخسر. So this is so even here, I don't know what that even means. It says Diwan Umar ibn Rabi'a 94. So if you go to the end of the book, where this should be, just trying to think. Go right to the end of the book. So that's in one of the most famous poems of his. Does not have the masadir. Doesn't have it. So maybe in the original print it has it. It says, just like gives the thing, it doesn't give the masadir or muraja or anything. So anyway, it's a kind of a problem. Like, where on earth is this thing? So I have the print of his diwan, as done by Muhammad Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid. So he did lots. He did like Abu Dawood and different things like that. But like a lot of his books are more like shuruh than actual tahqiqat, you know. And the question is, so this is like, where are these things? So this is وَأَيْمَا بِالْعَشِيِّ فَيَخْسَرُ. So this is one of his most famous poems. And this is the one, in it there's another line. There's another line that Sibawayh quotes is that فكان بجني دون من كنت أتقي ثلاث شخوص كاعبات ومعسروا. So فيخسروا, right? So basically what happens is he goes and spends the night with Nu'm, his girlfriend, and breaks into her village. And the question is, how's he going to get out in the morning? So her two sisters have a plan. They basically dress him up as a woman and they'll leave like wearing niqab or something like that. So he says, فَكَانَ مِجَنِّي, my mijan, the shield between me and them. دُونَ مَنْ كُنْتُ أَتَّقِي, between me and those who I was trying to ward off. ثَلَاثُ شُخُوصٍ. So Sibawayh quotes it because it should say ثَلَاثَةُ شُخُوصٍ. Shakhs is masculine. ثَلَاثَةُ شُخُوصٍ. But because they were females, he says ثَلَاثُ شُخُوصٍ. So he looks at the meaning and not the lafz. Right? Looks at the meaning, which is banat. So ثَلَاثُ banat and not ثَلَاثَةُ. ثَلَاثُ شُخُوصٍ كَاعِبَانِ, two girls with breasts, وَمُعْسِرُ, and one girl that's like prepubescent. Right? So how is it useful to us? Mijan, shield, right? Taqwa, what does it mean? Right? When he says كَاعِبَانِ وَكَوَاعِبَ أَتْرَابًا, right? And then helps us understand that. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُعْصِرَاتِ مَاءً ثَجَّاجًا. Mu'sir, about to reach puberty, right? So there's a lot of fawaid. And apparently as well that when he was dying, his brother told him to make tawbah. He said, basically you spent your life chasing girls. He said, actually all of that was just poetry. I didn't do anything haram. It was just poetry. Wallahu alam. And I believe he was like Ibn Abbas. Apparently in some quotes between Ibn Abbas debating with the Khawarij that he used to use some of his poetry to prove these things. So he was so anyway. The point is his poetry is useful, and even though there's some stupid things in it about girls and whatever, and his ridiculous what's it called, heroism, it's good poetry. Like it's actually it's worth the harm, right? As opposed to do like Imam al-Dhahabi mentions the shi'r al-muwalladin, the shi'r of the later people. The benefit is outweighed by the harm. Here's a poem in the 3rd century talking about homosexuality. What's its use? It's not going to prove anything to me. I'm just going to hear about homosexuality. I don't care, right? Or drinking about wine or whatever. It's not very useful. So whereas Umayyad or Islami or Jahili poetry is all useful, even if it talks about bad stuff. Right? So anyway, that's homework piece number 2, Muhammad Amin. Finding the Diwan of Umar ibn Rabi'ah. Is there any real tahqiq of it? I kind of drive myself crazy trying to find these things because it's like a lot of stuff just happens on the sly. Like there's no real tahqiq. It's kind of like, where on earth is this book from? It's really annoying. Where's the manuscript? Where's this? Where's that? Where's the sanad for it? So it's quite hard to find these things. Khair, inshallah, we'll stop here. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.